Hello, I'm Christopher Parker. I'm owner here at Lipo Connection Solutions. I get a lot of questions on what is the proper procedure for plugging in my power supply. The power supply is already wired for it to automatically come on when you plug it into the AC outlet. But to plug it in properly, you basically want to hook your charger up to the power supply first and then plug it into the wall. By doing this, it eliminates that spark you get from doing it in the reverse order. And that's how you plug in your power supply to your charger. However, there are some exceptions to this rule. If you have two or three or sometimes even four power supplies, sometimes you want to plug those up in a cascading manner, meaning plug them up one at a time until you have all four plugged up. You may ask, can I plug this into a power strip? The thing with these power supplies is they draw a lot of power, so if you plug it into a power strip, make sure it's properly rated for the load. A lot of the cheap power strips that you purchase at Home Depot or your dollar store, they're good up to 15 amps, but a lot of times they're rated for a lot less. If you ever plugged in a space heater and had the power strip trip on you, the same thing can happen with these power supplies, and that's something that you don't want to happen, especially if you have the iCharger 4010 Duo and the little brother, the 406 and the 308. You don't want any sudden interruption of power. There are ways to get around this. You can buy a Y splitter cable from monoprice.com. They're around $2 to $3 plus shipping. Or you can buy a properly rated power strip. I believe Belkin sells one. It's a metal power strip and it has a rating of about 22 amps. And again, due to my experience with power strips, the cheaper white ones are more likely going to trip at higher loads, especially if you're pushing those chargers to the maximum limit, meaning that you have a 24 volt 62 amp power supply and you pull in 60 amps from it, it will trip that power strip. So either buy the Y cable, which it eliminates the switch and it's just a direct plug to the wall, or get a properly rated power strip that's definitely above 15 amps. The power supplies typically pull about 15 to 16 amps from the wall when fully loaded, so that's why those power strips trip, because their maximum rating is around 15 amps. So there you have it. The only other thing to mention is if you buy a 24 volt 62 amp power supply, more likely that will max out a circuit in your home if you are pushing your charger to the maximum limit. That means you're charging 6S batteries at 50 amps or charging multiple batteries in parallel, such as 6S batteries, and you're charging 20 plus amp hours in parallel and you're charging at 2C. You will be maxing out the power supply and the circuit in your home. So be mindful of what's on in your room and what's on in the adjacent rooms. Is somebody playing a game console, or one of your children playing a gaming console? Is a heater plugged in? Be mindful of all these things when you go to use these power supplies, because they draw a lot of power if you're a power user like myself. And I pretty much have to run mine on an empty circuit in my home, because the bathroom, this room, and the next bedroom are all in the same circuit. So I have to make sure I have limited peripherals uh, on the circuit, so I can ensure that I can have a clean, uninterrupted charge cycle. And that's it. That's all I have to add to that. Thanks for watching. I do have one more thing to add. Basically, what I told you were worst case scenarios for power users, but I know there are a lot of you that are using 1S, 2S, 3S batteries. Um, if you do the math, charging those batteries isn't using a lot of power, so you're possibly okay when you're charging the lower S batteries, especially if they're only like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 milliamp hours. Is if you're charging at the right C rating, it's not going to exceed your wall socket. I, however, have a lot of batteries behind me. Those are 6S 16 amp hour multi-stars, and I can charge those at 2 to 3C. So I'm really pumping a lot of power into those battery packs, so I'm a lot more aggressive than the average user. A lot of you, if you're running one power supply, use it on a power strip. If you're running 2 or more and you know you're maxing it out, buy a good power strip or plug it directly into the wall. If you have 2 power supplies and you're not charging, like you're charging at 10 amps on a 6S battery, you should be okay on a power strip. But if you start pushing that thing up past 40, 50 amps on 6S batteries, then you typically want to pull back. And normally, like I said, 5S, basically anything under 5S, you should be okay with using a power strip. Just the power users that use 6S or more with the higher end dual chargers, that's when we start drawing a lot of power, and that's when those breakers and those power strips start tripping, and we don't want that because that may damage the charger. I think that's it. Have a wonderful day.